Hi everyone, my name is Tamit Saleh and welcome to this week's episode of Tennis Tuesday. This week I'm going to split this into two parts as there's quite a lot going on, as I'm sure you guys are aware of. So in this part one video, I'm going to be looking at the ATP rankings and the race, break it down for you guys, how everyone's doing, what can be expected for the rest of the season. And also in part two, I'll be looking at will Rafael Nadal beat Roger Federer's Grand Slam record? He's of course only one away now after winning the US Open in quite dramatic fashion. So yeah, I'm going to be looking at that in part two. If you haven't already, then please do subscribe as I do release weekly tennis content. If you want to check out my last video, which was my match analysis of Rafael Nadal beating Medvedev in that 5-set thriller in New York, I'll be putting a link up here somewhere and also in the description below. Now, back to part one. We've got a lot to talk about in terms of the ATP ranking and race. So without further ado, let's roll the intro.
Here he is again. That's astonishing. Absolutely.
So we'll begin by looking at the ATP rankings. As you know, throughout most of this year, Novak Djokovic has had quite a sizable lead, a lot of breathing space. However, after the US Open, Rafael Nadal is very close and he is closing in, guys. He's roughly 600 points behind. That is nothing. So yeah, Novak Djokovic is on. By the way, I might add, this is the ATP rankings as of the 9th of September 2019. In first place, we have Novak Djokovic on 9,865 points. Rafa Nadal just over 600 behind. Second place on 9,225. Federer, third place, 7,130. And of course, Daniil Medvedev, the new world number 4, his highest ever career ranking so far. I doubt it will be, he'll be stopping there. But he's currently 4th in the rankings now on 5,235 points. 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th goes to Team Zverev, Tsitsipas and Nishikori. That makes up your top 8. I want to really focus on the top 2 because I believe, they will battle it out now for the year-end number 1 ranking. Rafa Nadal has the advantage that he is defending absolutely nothing now until the end of the season. If you remember, after he retired from last year's US Open, he did not play anymore for the entire 2018 season. So he has absolutely nothing to defend, which puts him in prime position now to go for that world number 1 ranking. Novak Djokovic, on the other hand, has a win in Shanghai to defend and final appearances in both Paris and the World Tour Finals. So a lot of points for Novak to defend there. Looking at the race, Rafa is quite comfortably ahead in that race. He's actually built up quite a sizable lead. He has 9,225. Now, as I've just said, he has nothing to defend, which is why his race total now matches his rankings total, 9,225. Novak Djokovic, roughly 2,000 behind in second place on 7,265. Roger Federer in third, 5,510, and for me, that's him, like his chance of the year-end one gone, if there was any chance in the beginning. And Daniil Medvedev, 4th in the race now on 4,805. All 4 of these players, Nadal, Djokovic, Federer and Medvedev, have guaranteed their spot in the World Tour Finals. That takes place in London. It's the last tournament of the season, of the tennis calendar year, and it's played between or contested by the top 8 players in the world. The top 4 have already qualified for that. 5th place, Dominic Thiem on 3,845, and then followed closely by Tsitsipas, Roberto Bautista Agut, and Nishikori making up the top 8. I must add, Nishikori and Roberto Bautista Agut, they're not by no means confirmed, or there's a lot of players in that bracket now that are very close. For instance, Nishikori in 8th place, behind him Berrettini, Zverev, Goffin and Monfils. They're all within 100 points of each other. As you know, that is absolutely it's nothing. So it can change around very easily, and expect to see that within the next few tournaments. We have Beijing, Shanghai, Paris, Basel as well. If players play that, it's by no means guaranteed who the top 8 will be. As I've said earlier, there's quite a few tournaments to play, and one tournament I believe may affect things at the top is the Laver Cup. Now, I know it has its criticism and all of this. I'm okay with the competition. However, I feel like this could put a dent in Rafa's hopes. Rafael Nadal has signed up to take part in this year's Laver Cup. Novak Djokovic is not taking part. So, I mean, if Rafa plays the Laver Cup and gets injured or something, then it'll look quite a bit of a silly move, to be honest. So that's his call. He has said that he's going to play Paris and Shanghai, and then of course he wants to get married. I think it is up to him now what he wants to prioritize. If he's prioritizing the world number one spot, then he might need to postpone the wedding or not play the Laver Cup to his full potential. I don't know, maybe add another event. Djokovic likewise, with his injury, he needs to see how it goes. Rafael Nadal has come out and said that whilst the number one spot is of course a prestigious and great achievement, it's not on the top of his mind. And he said as well that if you focus on things like the world number one, you could be putting your body through extra physical strain that you'll be cutting away years from your career, and he wants to prolong his career as much as possible. As you know, with the big three, it's pretty much all about the slams now. So the world number one, it's still up for grabs between Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal. I'll end this video by looking at some of the stats and exactly why the world number one is important, especially to Novak Djokovic, more so than Rafa. Djokovic is now joint fourth with Jimmy Connors as the longest ever world number one. He is on 268 weeks. Bearing in mind, like this next month, probably for Rafa, especially after the summer, he probably won't be playing a tournament in the whole of October until probably Beijing or Shanghai most likely. He will not gain any points, which will give Novak another 4 weeks at world number one. This will pass him. This will make him pass Ivan Lendl in third place. Ivan Lendl has 270 weeks, so only 2 weeks for Novak to match that and 3 weeks for him to beat it. So I fully expect Novak Djokovic in a couple of weeks' time to be third in the all-time list. He is, of course, chasing Roger Federer's 310 weeks at world number one. He's 42 weeks behind that right now. A couple of months ago, after he had won Wimbledon, it looked quite like it was going to happen. He needs to hold on to at least this stint of world number one until next year's Wimbledon. Now Rafa might put a spanner in the works, but I mean, yeah, it looks like it will be below 40 weeks. And as you know, every time Novak Djokovic has been world number one, it's been at least 45 weeks he's been at the top of the game. The year-end world number one is quite juicy as well. As you know, Pete Sampras has had the year-end number one title the longest. He has achieved it 6 times. Djokovic and Federer, alongside Jimmy Connors, have had the year-end number one 5 times. Rafa Nadal on 4. So it's either Djokovic is going to match Pete Sampras at the top now, or Rafa is going to match his 2 main rivals. I'm going to leave it there in terms of the ATP rankings and the race. Please do tune in for part 2, where I'll be looking at whether or not Rafael Nadal will beat Roger Federer's 20 Grand Slam tally. I'll be putting a link to that in the description below as well. Like always, please do leave a comment. What do you think? Who will be the world number one at the end of the season? Will it be Rafa or will it be Novak? Yeah, will Novak Djokovic beat Roger Federer's weeks at number one record? Like always, I do try to respond to most, if not all, of your comments. I genuinely do find it very interesting to read and hear what you guys have to say. And if you've enjoyed this video, please do leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.